Every winter my family makes a trip down to Fort Myers, Florida, to visit my aunt and uncle. It's become a long-standing tradition, one that's been going on for nearly 15 years, ever since they moved down there. For as long as I can remember, it's been something to look forward to, a brief escape from the cold, grey winters up north, and a chance to reconnect with family. I was 12 when this particular visit happened. My cousin Ashley, who was just a year older than me, was always there too, of course. Despite the age difference and the fact that I was a boy and she was a girl, we got along really well. She wasn't the type to roll her eyes at my interests. She was actually into a lot of the same things I liked. We'd go exploring, watch scary movies, and get into harmless trouble like typical kids. On the first night of our stay, after dinner, the whole family settled into the living room to watch a movie. Once it ended, the adults stayed up drinking wine and talking in the kitchen, laughing over old stories. Ashley and I were stuck inside since we weren't allowed out that late, but she had other plans. She told me about a nearby canal where, according to local rumors, people had spotted a massive 10-foot alligator. It sounded like an adventure, and after some convincing, I was all in. We waited for the perfect moment and snuck out through the back door while our parents were still distracted in the kitchen. It was quiet outside, the kind of quiet that almost makes you second-guess every sound. On our way to the canal, we stopped at a nearby 7-Eleven to grab some snacks. The cashier eyed us and said, "Be careful out there," which felt more like a warning than casual concern. The streets were nearly empty. That part of Fort Myers is quiet, especially at night. We walked for about 10 minutes. The air got thicker, more humid, and the edges of the road looked marshier the closer we got to the canal. Then, Ashley suddenly stopped. She pointed ahead and whispered, "What's that guy doing?" I looked up and saw him right away. Far down the street, a man was standing completely still on the sidewalk. He wasn't looking at his phone or walking or doing anything at all, just standing motionless, staring off into the distance. Something about it immediately made my skin crawl. He wasn't behaving like someone out for a walk or waiting for a ride. He looked like he was waiting for something else. Ashley hesitated, then said the only way to the canal was straight ahead, unless we wanted to trek through people's yards or swampy water. So we kept going, but much slower. When we got about halfway to him, he suddenly turned around. His entire body, not just his head, and faced us. We froze. He didn't move for several seconds, then slowly lifted his arm and began waving. Not a friendly wave either. He waved his whole arm stiffly, almost like a signal. Then the wave turned into a beckoning motion. Ashley and I just looked at each other, and without a word, we turned and bolted in the opposite direction. We ran until our legs burned and stopped outside a small yellow house to catch our breath. Ashley, still panting, muttered, "There are some really weird people around here, especially near that canal." Now, I understood why her parents were so strict about her being out late. We decided to head back, but as we reached the next block, we saw him again. He was standing under a streetlight this time. Same posture, same frozen stance. The eerie thing was how stiff he looked, like a mannequin someone had placed on the sidewalk. But he was real, around 40, hair slicked back, with a twisted, crooked nose and a closed-mouthed smile that sent chills down my spine. He waved again, and for some reason, maybe curiosity, maybe fear, I waved back. The smile dropped from his face instantly, and then, without warning, he started sprinting toward us. Ashley screamed. I couldn't even find the breath to scream, I just ran. We cut through yards, jumped over fences, and zigzagged down side streets until we finally made it back to her house. Unfortunately, the back door had locked behind us, so we had to knock. We told our parents we had just run out to 7-Eleven for snacks. They didn't buy it entirely, but luckily, we got off with a mild scolding. Ashley's parents were stricter about it, but they didn't ground us or anything. To this day, over a decade later, I still can't get that man's face out of my head. The way he stood under that streetlight, the way he smiled, and then the way he sprinted after us. I've had nightmares about it more than once, and I don't think I'll ever walk those Fort Myers streets at night again.